Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Brad again, and thanks for coming to chill in the lounge. And for today's video for you guys, I wanted to bring to you some test hands featuring my Mekk-Knight Orcust deck profile. And if you haven't seen the deck profile already, I will put a link in the description below. Other than that, let's get into this. Alright, so we'll do a little shuffle and a pile shuffle here, and we'll get right into it, guys. We'll have our opponent cut. And assuming we're going first, we will draw our 5 cards. Not a bad hat at all. So, starting off, we will summon our Scrap Recycler. And we will use his effect to send a machine card from our deck to the graveyard, which we will send our O-Lion. And we will use O-Lion's effect when he's sent to the graveyard to give ourselves a Mecha Phantom Beast token. And we will link away our token and our Scrap Recycler for our Scrap Wyvern. And we will use the effect of Scrap Wyvern to bring back a scrap card from our graveyard. And then we have to destroy a card in the field, on our side of the field, which will be the Recycler, because he's a 1 effect and that will not resolve properly. And then we will use his Resolution effect to summon a scrap card from our deck, which we are looking for the Golem. And then once Scrap Golem comes out, we have to resolve the Scrap Wyvern, and that destroys a card on the field. It could be on your opponent's side of the field or our side of the field. And since we are obviously going first, we have to destroy one of our own cards, so we're going to destroy the Scrap Wyvern. And we will activate the Scrap Golem effect to target our Scrap Recycler in the graveyard and bring him back to the field. And we're going to use Scrap Recycler's effect when he is summoned to send the World Wand to the graveyard. That's one of the great things about Scrap Golem and Scrap Recycler is that they're not hard once per turns, so you can use their effects multiple times in the same turn. And now that we have the World Legacy card in our graveyard, we can go ahead and link these two away into our Lib, the World Keyblade Master. And we can use Lib's effect to target, well, not target, but select a World Legacy spell or trap and set it to our side of the field. So we will set the World Legacy Succession. And we will activate the World Legacy Succession, targeting our Scrap Golem in the graveyard to special summon him to a zone that a link monster points to. And then when Scrap Golem is summoned, we will use his effect again to target the Scrap Recycler in our graveyard and special summon him. And we're going to use Scrap Recycler's effect to send a machine card from our deck to the graveyard, which this time we are going to send the Orcust Nightmare. Now we can link those two away. Since they are the same attribute, we can go into our Union Carrier. We're going to set our Infinite Impermanence in our Spell and Trap zone, so we have 2 cards in the same column. And we're going to special summon our Purple Nightfall. We will activate Purple Nightfall's effect to banish himself, so we can add a Mekk-Knight card with a different name from our deck to our hand. And this time we're going to add the Indigo Eclipse. Just as a further extender. We will special summon the Indigo Eclipse. And now we are going to start going into our Orcust combo, which will lock us into Dark attribute. And we are going to banish the Orcust Nightmare, targeting our Lib, so we can send a Orcust card from our deck to the graveyard, which we are going to send the Symbol Skeleton. We are going to use the World Wand effect to target the Orcust Nightmare to special summon. And from here, there are two different routes of play that you could go. You could link these two off into an IP Masquerena, and on the opponent's turn, you could use the Masquerena interruption to link with the Lib for Unicorn, so you can get the spin off of the Lib and the Unicorn, so that's two interruptions. Or you could link these two off into the Galatea, which I will actually do right now. Now we're going to use Galatea's effect to target a banished machine monster and return it to our deck, so we can set a Orcust card that is a Speller Trap. And normally you'd probably go for the Babel, but I'm actually going to go for the Orcust Crescendo. And we're going to set that to our side of the field right there. And now we're going to use our Union Carrier's effect, targeting our Galatea, to equip it with our Dragon Buster Destruction Sword. We'll have our opponent cut our deck. And we're going to set one of our Allure of Darkness, and we're going to activate our other one. Just a blind Allure, see if we can draw into anything by chance. Actually, that's really good. So we have to banish the Symbol Skeleton because we don't have much of a choice. But we have another Impermanence, so that's another monster interruption for the following turn. And that's probably what you would pass on. So if you really wanted to, you could blind Allure again, but other than that, you have your opponent locked out of the extra deck. You have two monster negations, and you have a Omni negate, and Galatea is at 2800 attack because of the Destruction Buster. And if we were to alert just for shits and giggles, see, we would have a Scrap Recycler, but we would draw into that the following turn anyways. But yeah, that is one of the test hands here. Let's try another. And we have our second test hand for you guys. And we will do a cut and draw 5. Alright, so not a bad hand starting off. And we can start off this one by normal summoning our Girsu and using Girsu's effect on summon to send a World Legacy or Orcust card from our deck to the graveyard, which we will send our Orcust Nightmare. And next, we can activate our Orchestrated Return by sending our World Legacy World Wand to the graveyard to draw 2 cards. Interesting. Now we can use our Girsu's second ability to give ourselves a token and a token to our opponent's side of the field. And you always want to make sure that you give the token right above the extra monster zone, so you have 2 cards in the same column, just in case you have Mekk-Knight plays. You want to get yourself in the habit of doing that so you have 2 cards in the same column. But we're going to go from here and link away our token for our Link Karibo. And there's a couple of different ways that you could play this out. You could go for a lib play to try to do a couple of extra extensions, which I'll probably end up doing since we do have a World Legacy card in the graveyard. Or you could go into Galatea plays and then end off with IP. But for the sake of this one, we're going to link these two away into our lib and use lib's effect to set a World Legacy spell or trap from our deck, which we will set the World Legacy Succession. Now we can activate the Orcust Nightmare, targeting our lib, to send an Orcust monster from our deck to the graveyard. Actually, I should correct myself. It is a machine that you send from your deck to the graveyard, not an Orcust. But it's primarily used for Orcust targets. So now that Bombard is sent, we are going to activate our World Legacy Succession, and we will target our Girsu in our graveyard and special summon that to our arrow that our lib points to. Next, we can activate our Brass Bombard by banishing that, so we can target an Orcust card in our hand with a different name and special summon it to our side of the field. So this time we are going to special summon our Symbol Skeleton. From here, we're going to link these two off into our IP Masquerena. Next, we can use our World Wand by banishing, and then we can target our Brass Bombard to special summon on our side of the field. And now we can link our Brass Bombard and our lib to go into our Galatea. We can use the effect of lib now that it was linked away to the graveyard to return a monster or a card on the field to the deck, so we can target the token on our opponent's side of the field, so we can clear that. Next, we can activate Galatea's effect by returning one of our banished machine monsters, which this time we will send the World Wand back to our deck, so we can set our orchestrated battle. Now we can activate our Babel. We can set our Imperm in a column so we have extra monster negation for the following turn. And then we are going to overlay Dingirsu onto our Galatea and move it down to our main monster zone, and use Dingirsu's effect to attach one of our banished machine monsters to him as material. So that way on the opponent's turn, you have protection with Dingirsu, you have a send, a link send with Masquerena. Usually you'll go into Unicorn, and then you have 2 cards for discarding. You have the Imperm for monster negations on your opponent's turn, and then with the Babel active as well, you also have a couple cards live in the graveyard for disruptions on your opponent's turn. So yeah, there's a couple test hands for you guys. I really hope that you guys like the profile and like the hands and some of the capabilities that this deck has of putting out as far as boards. So I appreciate your guys' time and coming down to hang out on the channel. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and I will be looking forward to posting more videos soon. Thanks guys, take care, peace.